you say, okay, being a Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur is the best thing you can imagine. Okay, so you go and you evangelize that idea, right? But it turns out what you're doing is very similar to what, missionaries, let's say, going out into wherever are doing. You've got a particular point of view. It may be a good point of view. It may not be a good point of view. Who knows? And you're going to tell people this is the point of view you should have. And the people may say, well, that's all very nice, but we just don't care. What is the, is it the right thing to just sort of assume that one wants to sort of spread, the ideas of technology and sort of tech initiative and tech entrepreneurism, or is it just not the right thing to? Anyway, I've been curious about this question, and I don't know. Yeah.
How do you think the best way to advertise to politicians to try to introduce computer science at a younger age to students?
I think one problem is, what is computer science? And I mean, what's happened in practice with the kind of the coding, in various times. So there have been many waves of let's introduce computers to kids. Okay, it started with BASIC, Logo, things like that, many, many years ago. And there were particular countries like Costa Rica, for example, introduced Logo to basically every kid back in the 1970s. These things, they get very, my own opinion is that a lot of, let's introduce coding is like a deadly thing. Because one of the things that happens is, okay, so one of the problems with math, which has become a very big thing, obviously, in education, is, there are people who really like math and really good at it and really into it, but there are plenty of people who don't. And the number one takeaway from most people's math education is, I don't like math. And so the problem is, how to avoid that with coding or computation or whatever. And a lot of what happens with low-level programming, is very fiddly and detailed, and some people like it, but a lot of people say this is really boring. And, it's like doing, algebra and math and things, and it's kind of boring. And so it puts people off. I think with the technology we have now, we finally have the opportunity to kind of teach computational thinking without teaching too much detailed coding type stuff. Now, the projects you guys are doing are getting into the, upper reaches of kind of the computational coding-ish type things, but there's plenty you can do with like the technology we now have that doesn't get into that level of sophistication. And I think the thing that so I think that's an opportunity. It's a new opportunity, and we're trying to figure out how to take the best advantage of that opportunity. And like this summer camp is a sample of what we think we can do. And it seems to work well, as far as I can tell. And we've been, I've been doing a bunch of experiments with middle school students, now even elementary school students, which have also been going surprisingly well. And so, okay, you asked the question with respect to politicians. Okay, so first of all these education things are so fragmented and messy, particularly in the US. There are countries we've dealt with, Estonia, Panama, Victoria in Australia is a good example.
I don't know. I know a lot of people who sort of say like, "Oh, I hate mathematics. I don't know how to use it."
Right. Well, that's But that one is more of a math-oriented thing than some of these other places. It's more of a computational thinking type thing. And I think there are places where, one feature of sort of us trying to provide technology to like elementary school kids and so on is part of what we have control over. Like in math, you write down x plus x and it's 2x or whatever else. And math is just math. But if for us, making it easier for users to not make mistakes is kind of our responsibility. And hopefully we can develop better technology to make, whether it's coloring the brackets or whether it's putting up notifiers that say this is probably wrong, things like that. It's somewhat more under our control. But, in terms of the, the sort of story of how do you get computation, okay. The problem of education is the system is 100 years old, roughly, public education, and it is deeply entrenched in many ways. The subjects which are taught have pretty much been fixed for 100 years. Injecting something new is really, really hard. because what does it look like? You have to, not only people say, well, let's teach computation, but you say, well, but wait a minute, that's not relevant to the, assessment, stuff that is going to be done. How does that contribute to, how does that contribute to my? You want to teach, there's a whole stack of stuff that goes to how are you going to get an assessment? How are you going to get grades? How does it contribute to, it's a complicated thing to turn this, and we've spent a fair amount of effort trying to figure out how to do it with only, I would say,